is money which can build several polyclinics and schools in my constituency. So it is a saving to the nation. But even in addition to that, we get the equipment, we get technology transfer. I am confident that we will be seeing at least 20% increase in revenues. It is a win-win-win all along. And at the end of the day, we will be sure that what the income or revenues are being declared by the tax revenues are being declared and paid by the mobile network operators are what they are due, they deserve to pay to the nation. So it clears everybody's mind that nothing untoward is happening and enables us to have an even greater working relationship with them. I need to add this. One thing that I found most distressing about the conversations we had with the network operators is that in Rwanda and Uganda, this same GVG, who is a partner to Kelny here, is operating an identical system which they are all happily working with without raising any issues at all. And yet, when it comes to implementing this same system in Ghana, they have problems with it. And the question I ask is why? And when I put this before the telecoms chamber, they had the nerve to tell me that Ghana is not Rwanda, which means they will apply the law in Rwanda, but will not apply the law in Ghana. I have something to tell them, and I hope they hear me loud and clear. We are doing this despite whatever objections they raise. Ghana will be even more than Rwanda if they think they can have this attitude with us. I was extremely upset with them for actually having the nerve to utter those words to us. And I want to demonstrate to them that we will apply this law fully to the letter, no matter what they do. But I want them to be clear that we are determined to follow through with this. We will not relent, we will not waver. We have excellent relationships with them. We intend to continue to have excellent relationship with them, but we will not allow any of them to take us for granted, to look down or disrespect our law in any shape or form.
Communications Minister Esla Owusu Ekufu.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll be right back with more on this particular development.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
NIIT, your number one choice for quality IT education, has introduced new programs. These programs have the latest technologies endorsed by employers. Our programs include certificate and diploma in hardware, networking, programming, graphic and web designing, and a lot more. Contact NIIT Accra at Ring Road Central, opposite Busy Internet. Telephone 0289-116317 or Tema Community 11 on 0540-124-190. Website niitghana.com. NIIT, bringing people and computers together successfully.
Making you number one. At Freight Consult, we offer you.
Hi, I am Umaru Sanda. I'm the host of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Every weeknight, do join me for the big stories of the day as we do the analysis, the interviews, the probing questions that will help you find closure to the top stories that bother your mind. The show is of course live on Facebook here on Citi FM's handle. Hi, I am Umaru Sanda. I'm the host of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Every weeknight, do join me for the big stories of the day as we do the analysis, the interviews, the probing questions that will help you find closure to the top stories that bother your mind. The show is, of course, live on Facebook here on Citi FM's handle. Hi, I am Umaru Sanda.
But the value we're gaining from this transaction far outweighs the money that we're paying for it. In any event, it is 55% less than we were paying previously. So even if this transaction doesn't earn us one extra penny, we are saving $67 million over 5 years just by changing the contractors that we're going with. And that is money which can build several polyclinics and schools in my constituency. So it is a saving to the nation. But even in addition to that, we get the equipment, we get technology transfer. I am confident that we will be enables us to have an even greater working relationship with them. I need to add this. One thing that I found most distressing about the conversations we had with the network operators is that in Rwanda and Uganda, this same GVG, who is a partner to Kelny here, is operating an identical system which they are all happily working with without raising any issues at all. And yet, when it comes to implementing this same system in Ghana, they have problems with it, and the question I ask is why? And when I put this before the telecoms chamber, they had the nerve to tell me that Ghana is not Rwanda, which means they will apply the law in Rwanda but will not apply the law in Ghana. I have something to tell them, and I hope they hear me loud and clear. We are doing this despite whatever objections they raise. Ghana will be even more than Rwanda if they think they can have this attitude with us. I was extremely upset with them for actually having the nerve to utter those words to us. And I want to demonstrate to them that we will apply this law fully to the letter, no matter what they do. But I want them to be clear that we are determined to follow through with this. We will not relent, we will not waver. We have excellent relationships with them. We intend to continue to have excellent relationship with them, but we will not allow any of them to take us for granted, to look down or disrespect our law in any shape or form.
So you hear the Minister for Communication, Esla Osu-Ekufo, speaking there to journalists after giving an address to Parliament when she was invited to come give answers on questions that MPs had in relation to the Kelny GVG deal. Now, a number of groups, as you would know, have been asking for this contract to be abrogated. Imani Ghana has been fighting this particular deal. Indeed, the Telecoms Chamber has been fighting that particular deal. So, it's a group known as Tax Justice Ghana. They waded into this controversy and also said that the deal should be abrogated immediately. After listening to the Minister for Communication, have they been convinced? Would they now let the government go ahead with the deal as planned? Bernard Anaba is the coordinator of the Tax Justice Ghana group, and he joins me on the line. You're welcome to Eyewitness News. Looking at your statement that you issued earlier, you were concerned about value for money. Now, the Minister for Communications is saying to us that indeed you are focusing, and I'm referring to critics now, have been focusing more on the cost rather than the value that it is going to create, and indeed that it is going to cost far less. Were you convinced listening to the Minister for Communication?
Thank you very much, Omar Sanda, and thank you very much to your listeners as well. I must say that unfortunately, the minister haven't convinced me one bit. She was very passionate in the way she delivered her communication or speech, especially for the telcos. That is fine. I hope we're going to actually, going forward, we're going to get a lot of value. But she talked about value, and she never mentioned what value. What she said, undercutting that same statement, was to say that even if we do not earn an extra 1 penny, even if we do not earn an extra 1 penny, we would have saved this country about 55% of the former deal. So why do you save us 1.5 million when you could have saved us 2.5 or 2.6? It's better to save everything rather than to just save 1.1. So that's what we are saying. They have no value to which they are telling us that this is the value that this contract is actually going to bring on board for the taxpayer. They are only saying that this contract is far cheaper than what has been done in the past. After studying what has been, what Suba Info Solutions and AfriWave and other things have done, we thought that, well, you could have a far cheaper contract and make the case for it. In other words, what they are trying to say is that in terms of what Suba and Co did, we did not get any value for what they did. It was zero. And which means that a lot of money went down to a drain. But if you listen to the Ministry of Communication, what they are saying is that in terms of what they are doing now, it's real-time data, as opposed to what the Suba and Co did, which was core detailed records from even what NCA had. So there is no difference between what Suba had in terms of data and what they are going to get now. It's just real-time data. If you are not going to get any value from real-time data, at the end of the day, it is all data. So whatever data they would have collected in the past, they are not able to tell us that we are going to be able to save this amount of revenue over this number of years or this period. They are only telling us that they are going to pay the amount to Colony GVG no matter what happens, just like it happened under Suba contract. So we are saying that in any case, money is going to go down the drain, but we have no guarantees of what is going to come back to Ghana.
But you see, the minister mentioned the figure of plus 60 million or so that she said was going to be saved to the state of Ghana. You clearly haven't heard that, have you?
Well, I haven't heard that. But in terms of what she said that, I have listened to what the Deputy Minister of Communications has said. I've listened to the minister herself. You know, these figures, they were just banding them around without telling her actually what was done to arrive at some of these figures. And she said that hopefully they are going to increase revenues up to about 20%. Of course, that is what we all want. But if you look at, in terms of what has happened over the period, in terms of what happened within Suba contract and what is happening now, it is all about what they are saying. They're going to collect data, real-time data versus in terms of the former data, which is not real-time. Now, what value are we going to get out of this data? We are not sure about that. But what we are going to pay upfront, that we know, that is $89 million. And that's what we are saying, that they haven't demonstrated the value for money for now. Because by the end of 5 years, if we come back and realize that, well, we have paid $89 million without having any actual increases in revenue as a result of this contract, what we are going to say, the minister and all the others who are involved in this should pay that money back to Ghana. And that's what happened to Suba. We paid Suba and AfriWave about $2.5 million each month from 2014 up to now. And have we recovered that money? It's all said money wasted. And that is what the Ghanaian is faced with. Because we cannot trust these two in terms of parties, in terms of governments over the years, because this same argument was made when the former government, in terms of NDC government, was making that case for Suba Info Solutions and AfriWave. They made a lot of cases. They made their case which looked as if it was genuine. But at the end of the day, we realized that it was nothing. Money went down to a drain. And that's the same argument that we are making now. The argument is that we are going to pay this amount of money no matter what happens, even if we do not make an extra 1 penny. And the minister said that clearly.
Thank you so much for your time. Bernard Anaba is the coordinator of Tax Justice Ghana. A number of he is part of a group that belongs to a number of other groups that are opposed to the GVG Kelny deal. Amos Kwashi has sent me a tweet and he says, Umaru, the minister is not trying to be very faithful to us, her employers. To avoid further suspicions, I think full-scale bipartisan, non-partisan investigation be launched in order to unravel all opaque areas in the deal. Citi FM Eyewitness News, #Citi Newsroom. Ayu Farouk in Tamale says, I still don't believe the communications minister. Her explanation lacks merit and facts. More due diligence should be done. Again, Nukunu Foga has sent a tweet and he says, our communications minister once called John Mahama called John Mahama a thief and refused to retract. It is interesting that she is now defending a stinky and dirty deal. Edmond Yin says, was it one district, one factory, or one day, one scandal? Maybe, just maybe, we have a case of kakistocracy in our hands. More comments. Obama in Pokwasi says, I can state without any fear of contradiction that the allegations of corruption against Eslausu in this Kelny GVG contract is being fueled by some self-seeking individuals at the Ministry of Communications. And Wolanyo in Akwetia says, Umaru, I wish that the Minister for Communication better abrogates the contract or have herself blamed in the future, because we promise Ghanaians value for money. It is welcoming news that Alhaji Short steps down to rally behind the acting chairman, Freddie Blake. You have decided to box two messages together. You can also send your tweets at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973 with the #Citi Newsroom, like Kwesi Reynolds has done. And he says, from Aguna Odobin, the resignation of Alhaji Short to throw his support for Mr. Freddie Blake is in the right direction. More comments on WhatsApp, Eugenia?
Well, the first comment is from Matthias Tulasi in Ho, and he says, the communication minister should give us a break. This government is always doing dubious calculations to deceive Ghanaians. They are saving money. Kwesi Reynolds from Agona Dobin also says, the minority will always go on a tangent of lies and unsubstantiated allegations just to denigrate the hardworking and visionary leadership of the NPP. And Kubaji in Berima Kubaji in Jinijini also says, Esla's shambolic defense to this scandalous deal makes the issue even murkier. Her arrogance and show of bravado to the telcos tell it all.
You can also send your views on 0549 986 996, 0549 986 996. That's our WhatsApp number. Eyewitness News is a program. 97.3 Citi FM is a station. Umaru Sandamadu is a name, and I'm here with Eugenia Tinkram. When we come back, there's more on that subject. And the MPP's Alhaji Short decides to shoot himself out of the MPP's race. Stay with us.
Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Every weeknight, do join me for the big stories of the day as we do the analysis, the interviews, the probing questions that will help you find closure to the top stories that bother your mind. The show is, of course, live on Facebook here on Citi FM's handle. Hi, I am Umaru Sanda. I'm the host of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Every weeknight, do join me for the big stories of the day as we do the analysis, the interviews, the probing questions that will help you find closure to the top stories that bother your mind.
So what we try to do on the Citi Breakfast Show is to keep a conversation flowing. So you'll typically have us do the newspaper review in a very fun, easygoing way, because look, people are stressed out, they're going to work. We're serious with the issues, but we present it in a fun way. And there are times listeners can send us a message and that becomes the whole show. So a couple of days ago, somebody complained about the East Legon tunnel, and that became like a whole program. The idea is that the people listening to you must be giving value. So you must not think of your own comfort. You must work fast, you must be nimble, you must have a strong research team behind you, and keep people wanting more. There's music as well, and there's some hard-hitting interviews. radio reflects the lifestyle of Ghanaians, and we are going through a transition as a country. Our democracy is going well. There are lots of issues that still need to be addressed, but we still have to enjoy ourselves. So we try and put all that together into a 3.5-hour show. It's not very easy, but trust me, it's exciting. It's really, really fun. Myself, Richard Sky, Kojo Akoto Boating, and Nama Asante.
Tell you that, listen, we need to give our president the peace of mind to work. So without those things going on, well, Alaji decided that, not him alone, the team decided, Alaji, we have to give the president the peace of mind to work. So with that, he set him going around, moving here, one candidate attacking the other, and the other also attacking the other. The team decided that, listen, we need to give the president the peace of mind to work.
Kwabena Mafo is campaign manager for Alaji Short.
And he's joining us on the line. Kwabena Mafo, indeed, campaign manager for Alaji Short. Let me talk to him briefly on the statement you just heard him make there earlier. So you're saying that you want to give the president a peace of mind to work. Is that why your boss decided to step down?
It's one of the reasons why we decided to step down.
How does his stepping down give the president peace of mind? Does his contest or his continuous stay in the contest prevent the president from working?
The MPP government, I said, well, let me come back once again and greet your listeners, your cherished listeners. One is in government, one of the political parties in government, as I said earlier on. The government needs peace of mind to work. Now, we are going for a contest. I think even with this contest, it should have been out how it is. The NDC messed up the economy. It's just by the grace. But you have such a strong leader like Nanado trying to fix the economy back on its wheels. And then, a party going for contest, and there will be acrimony here and there, the grassroots fighting against one another. Does it augur well for a party in government? No, it doesn't. So we just decided that, listen, let's get down, and advise those contesting to also calm down. And then we give the party, the government the peace of mind, the government the peace of mind to work. That is the reason why.
Mr. Mafo, this would not be the first time a party in power is having an internal election. So your reason for stepping down is rather quite curious. It's strange that your explanation and your reason for pulling out is because you want to give the president a peace of mind to work. Is it the case that President Akufo-Addo called Alaji Short and told him to step down?
No, I said this on some of your sister radio stations. We know how the president is. He believes in democracy, and he's a stand Democrat. Why would he advise somebody to step down? He would never do that. The president would never do that. He had the 17 contenders. He should have called others to step down. He didn't. He believed in competition. But that is coming from we, the team Short, advising our candidate. And the candidate, let's look at it. We are in government. The NDC has messed up the economy of Ghana. And with this, our internal,
Mr. Mafo, what would you say to critics who say that you're just, cooking up excuses because you read the ground and realize that you are headed for doom?
Well, I will leave that to that critics who will be saying that, you can't enter into everybody's mind and tell him what he wants to hear. We were in the kitchen and we know whatever is in there. I said that earlier on that this man has been a chairman for a region for 12 solid years. He doesn't fear contact. We fear no contact. Not just a near regional chairman, he's been a constituency executive, a polling station executive, and all these positions are meant for elections. You can't just go and take them like that. You need to go through elections that you get there. He's been able to go through all these things. So why do we fear contest? We don't fear contest. We fear no contest.
Okay, so which candidate are you backing now that you have pulled out?
My brother, let me come back again. We've just pulled out. I wish you should have come to the campaign office. Come and see the kind of acrimony, wailing of teeth in the office here. I just entered in the room. If I had gone out, you hear the kind of noise that is going on there.
Mr. Mafo, we don't have a lot of time, but who is your candidate supporting now that he has pulled out of the race?
We would definitely come out. But we need to call our candidates, our supporters. We need to calm them down and then give us a week. We will come out with a
number of tweets that have come through suggest that your candidate was throwing his weight behind Freddie Blay, the incumbent acting chair. Is that the case?
That isn't the case.
Would your candidate support Freddie Blay?
Well, we haven't come yet. We haven't decided as to who we are going to throw our support behind. So now we haven't decided yet. But we will meet as a team and see who we are going to throw our support.
Who are you likely to support?
We haven't thought of that.
What next for your candidate now that he has chickened out?
Now that we've chickened out, what we have to do is, the first and foremost thing is to console the supporters. That is what we have to do. And after that, as a team, we will meet and we'll know who we should throw our support.
I know that's about support, but what is your candidate going to do next?
What he's going to continue with the party work. He's a party man. It doesn't necessarily mean that when he hasn't any position in the party, he has to sit aloof. No. We will work for the party.
Thank you very much. Kwabna Mafo is campaign manager for Alhaji Short. I believe it's Abdul Idrisu. Abdurrahman Alhaji Short Abdurrahman, who has decided to pull out of the NPP race. They are scheduled to go to Congress in Koforidua. He wanted to be national chairman, and the announcement is that he's not going anymore, but they are yet to decide whom he will be supporting. Sami Wiafi is our correspondent at the presidency, but he has covered the New Patriotic Party more than many journalists I know. Sami, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. So Alhaji Short, how significant is he, and what does his pulling out of the race mean?
It then leaves the race between two people, Mr. Freddie Blay and Stephen Intim. If Alhaji Short was part, there were going to be 3 people. In total, 5 people are gunning to be the national chairman of the NPP. But the 3 front runners were Alhaji Short, Freddie Blay, who is the acting national chairman of the NPP, and 4-time contender Stephen Intim. So with Alhaji Short leaving the race, it's now between Mr. Stephen Intim and Freddie Blay.
So what about the other 2? You said there were 5, or the other 2 had pulled out already?
No, they are still in. That's Dr. Mwakoba, the political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Based on your knowledge of the party, you do not think he's going to make it, right? Because you're not even adding him to the. And who else is on the list?
Another one is called Richard Kankamboedu.
Okay.
He's also based in Kumasi.
So you foresee a 2-horse race between Stephen Intim and Freddie Blay.
This
looks like what we've seen before. Stephen Intim has tried a number of times wanting to be the chairperson of the party. Again, he's coming head to or neck and neck with Freddie Blay.
This is the 4th time he's contested this particular race. He was there way back in 2005 after Haruna Isiku left the party. He wanted to become the national chairman. He lost, and then Mark Menu became the national chairman then. So since then, he's been trying to be national chairman of the MPP. But then you wanted to know who Alhaji Short is. You know, he's a former Upper West regional chairman of the MPP. He was there since 2006. He's a member of the Council of Elders of the MPP. He's also a member of the National Executive Committee of the party and a member of the National Council. And he's the chairman of chairmen. The MPP has a group that's the regional chairman. You know, they call themselves chairman of chairmen. So he's the head or the chairman of all the 10 regional chairmen of the MPP. And he's also a board member of the Bui Power Authority. So this is who Alhaji Short is.
Sammy, but Freddie Blade, this will be the first time he's contesting national chair.
Yeah.
Previously, he contested as vice chair, and he was promoted by virtue of the fact that
Paula Foko was suspended in 2015.
So he benefited.
He became the acting national chairman of the MPP.
Are there any significant names that have pulled out?
So far, it's only Alhaji Short we know.
Thank you. Sami Wiafi is our correspondent at the presidency with additional information from the headquarters of the New Patriotic Party at Asylum Down. He's been sharing with us that latest information. Alhaji Short pulling out of the MPP's upcoming race. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sandamadu here with Eugenia Tingram. When we come back, we'll talk some energy and oil matters.
Eyewitness News.
The show is, of course, live on Facebook here on Citi FM's handle. Hi, I am Umaru Sanda Amadu, host of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Every weeknight, do join me for the big stories of the day as we do the analysis, the interviews, the probing questions that will help you find closure to the top stories that bother your mind.
Is asking the government to review downward some of the taxes placed on petroleum products. It believes this will help cushion the consumer against the rising cost of fuel in the market. COPEC also wants the government to institute stringent measures to curb illegal petroleum trade in the country. According to the Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, the annual loss of 1.9 billion cedis due to the illegal trade could be prevented to save the country. Consumers could be paying at least 7% more at the pumps from tomorrow. This is because of the cumulative increase in fuel prices between May and the middle of June this year. Now, speaking on the expected increase, Duncan Amwa said it will be prudent for the government to intervene by reviewing downwards the taxes on petroleum products.
So Duncan Amwa has joined us on the line. You're welcome to Eyewitness News. So you're suggesting that tomorrow when we go to the pumps there may be an increase. Have you confirmed that?
Thunder, I can boldly state that after consultations with a couple of oil marketing companies, we are in no doubt at all that by close of day tomorrow, some increases would be recorded at the pump.
I see. Now, you also talk about government reviewing downwards some of the taxes on petroleum products. You believe that that could be the biggest challenge for petroleum consumers. Can you elaborate further?
Well, Thunder, we didn't say that in isolation. Indeed, if you recall, earlier in the year, we had to take to the street to demonstrate about fuel prices and how high they have become for our pockets. Government responded by granting some review downwards on some of the taxes. Just 2 days ago, we were at Movenpick when the Seaboard report detailing how the country has lost over 1.8 billion in 2017 alone. If you recall, after our demonstration when government responded for the reduction of 2% special petroleum tax to 13,
the net impact on government revenue was about 40 million Ghana cedis. And you have a situation where government revenue that could have been boosted by about 1.8 billion is lost to some faithless criminals who engage in fuel smuggling and fuel diversion to deprive the state of income and revenue. We have said that if the government was to be a little serious and proactive in curtailing the illegal fuel trade, such that it can recoup all revenue, 1.8 billion and 2% of 40 million Ghana cedis, we are quite certain that the government could even reduce by a further 20% easily if it was getting those revenues that we are losing. And so the government must do a couple of things to go down on taxes, and one of them would have to be curtailing the illegal fuel trade that today has become a menace. It started from 750 million in 2016. In 2017, we've gone to about 1.8 billion. Only God knows how much the state will lose in 2018 when we do the final accounting at the end of the year.
I see now.
So we are saying
go on.
we need to block those loopholes so that if government revenue is enhanced, we would not even have to tell government at this point to go down on the taxes further. There are some of the taxes that we believe strongly at this point we could do without them, but unfortunately, government would still insist it needs the money. The special petroleum tax, even at 13%, is so significant. 47 per litre. If you drop 47 from what we have currently, you would drop to about 4.2 something. That is something significant. And so we think that the taxes would need to go down further, but to achieve that, the government would need to block the illegal fuel trade. We have also suggested the option of hedging should not be forgotten completely. If Ghana had been a little proactive with our forecast to know that fuel prices could go up by, say, 10% or could go up by some $20 within a year or two, maybe we should have hedged when it was $30, $40, so that around this time, for Ghanaian, prices will be quite stable. Unfortunately, whatever Trump does in America, whatever happens in Iran, the trotro driver is having to pay for it, and of which tomorrow there's going to be another increase. These cannot be sustained.
Mr. Amwa, you see, the National Petroleum Authority does not dictate fuel prices, but of course they have a range that is acceptable, and if fuel stations charge below that range, they are okay. And so we know that we are running a deregulated system now for selling fuel. Who can we blame really when we see prices shoot up at the pumps like you are anticipating would happen tomorrow? Because the NPA appears to have washed off its hands. Of course, they'll be playing the regulatory role. But who should we be blaming? The fuel stations, the international market, or the government?
Sanda, if one does a quick preview of the price build-up, like they say, the devil is in the details. What constitutes final pump price is dictated by the price build-up we have today. And so the first item you would find, which is ex-refinery price, that is dictated globally. And so when those prices go up, it would affect the ex-ref component. Now, beyond ex-refinery price, when you come to road fund, energy debt recovery levy, boss margin, energy debt recovery levy, which still has toll debt 3% embedded in there, boss margin, stabilization and recovery levy, those are locally controlled and controlled by the government through the finance ministry. And that is why we have said that the finance ministry would need revenue. They have said that without equivocation, if the finance ministry could block the revenue leakage that we have currently by way of the illegal fuel trade, 1.8 billion, it won't be far-fetched that it could throw out some 400 million to reduce for consumers. Unfortunately, the revenue is already lost. the little that is left, the trotro driver is going to have to be squeezed to pay more and pay more because the government needs revenue. While a few selfish individuals, highly placed, continue to make money illegally, continue to adulterate, divert, and smuggle fuel such that they don't go through the tax system and the state gets nothing, although the product gets sold at the forecourts of these filling stations. So until we block the revenue leakage, the finance ministry will continue to complain of poor revenue as far as the petroleum downstream is concerned. Meanwhile, these monies will go into private pockets. And so we have said that if you reduce SPT by 2%, and the total impact was 40 million Ghana cedis, it means that if you had done even 20%, what you would have seen would be about 400 million, which if you take out 1.8 billion, the government will still have made a lot more revenue for its own development agenda prosecution. Unfortunately, the revenue is going away. The little that is left, we are overtaxing the taxi driver, the trotro driver, the average Ghanaian whose salaries are not dictated by activities in Iran, activities by Trump, and whether there are global uncertainties on the international market, which causes poor prices. So clearly, there's a local control, and that is where we are a bit mindful of.
Very well.
We are also talking about agents.
We have to end here, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Duncan Amoah is Executive Director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So I have two statements before me. One from the Ghana Armed Forces titled "Soldiers Placed Under Close Arrest for Illegal Operations," signed by Agri Kwashi, who is Colonel, Director of PR at the Ghana Armed Forces. And then the second one is from the Ghana Police Service, update on formed police unit alleged sex scandal. And I'm going to begin with that. That's a statement signed by Richmond Mensah, who is the signing it on behalf of the Director General of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service. And Anas Said, who is our correspondent in the security services, has joined me in studio to explain to us briefly what these two press releases are about. Anas, let's take it from the police first. They're talking about the Ghanaian policemen who were in Sudan.
Yes.
What is the update?
Okay, Sandra, before we get into this particular statement, let me give you a quick rundown how things started about 5 months ago. In February, around February 22nd, 46 police officers who were with the formed police unit, who were on peacekeeping mission in South Sudan, were alleged to have involved themselves in some sexual abuse or sex scandal, and the UN together with the Ghana Police Service issued statements on that. There was an investigation. The IGP David Asante-Apietu sent a delegation to South Sudan to investigate the matter, and subsequently I asked a question just last week. I asked a question when the police service had a press conference to review the first quarter of this year, talking about the activities, ups and downs and all. When I asked the question, COP Nathan Kofi Boachi reacted to this particular matter, and he said that the Ghana side of investigations was done. The team that was sent there had completed their investigations, and they were waiting for their counterparts in UN to also do same, so they can compare notes and take a decision on them. But few days after that, we received information that these people had been repatriated from South Sudan. They actually arrived in the country yesterday, Wednesday, after some basic investigations were done. One thing that's not clear as of now is that the investigations that's been done by the UN is still not they are still not done with the investigation, but they've come back to the country. But Sandra, let me take you through this particular statement. It talks about the 46 members who were sent back home, but there's something that caught my attention. It states that the 46 police officers were repatriated on administrative grounds as per the United Nations rules and regulations, and will resume full normal police operations as we await the full investigative report from the United Nations for further action. So this tells us that the UN is still investigating the matter.
But they'll be immersed into our police force to continue with their regular activity. That's what it means.
That's what it means. But Sandra, there's still a question here because the local police, that's the police in Ghana, said they are done with their investigation. What was contained in that investigation? Were they cleared? If no, it means that they don't have to put them back into the system to work. They have.
But there was an earlier statement, I believe, from the police suggesting that they would only tell us what exactly the findings were after the UN comes up with this statement, right?
That was because they wanted to compare notes with what the UN.
And the UN hasn't come out yet, so we do not know exactly what the decision will be. But let's move on quickly to the armed forces from the police service now. They have also suspended some people. What have they done?
Yeah, some group of military personnel were alleged to involve themselves in some misconduct, specifically for allegedly trying to extort money from some people who engaged in some illegal activities in the western region. Information came that they went in a pickup to try to collect money from these people, but they reported to the police in that region, and they were able to arrest them. The statement signed by Colonel Agrikwashi indicates that these particular people are currently under their arrest. They are under their custody. They've sent them to the 2nd Battalion of Infantry in Takoradi for them to be investigated. And they condemn the action and state that they will still support the Operation Vanguard activities across the country, but they are assuring Ghanaians that these particular people who are indicted or arrested will be dealt with once they are found culpable.
Thank you very much. Anna Seidu is a man who reports from the security services. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we come back, business news, and later on Point Blank, my guest is the Seaboard CEO, Senyo Hosi, who has some issues. They have actually released a report. We'll be talking about that and more. Stay with us.
Eyewitness News.
The show is, of course, live on Facebook here on Citi FM's handle.